would like to thank our amazing sponsors, Touring Plans Travel. Their destination specialists work with you to plan and book your trip, whether you're traveling to a theme park, headed out on a cruise, or wanting to get away anywhere in the world. As experts in smart travel, their agents suggest the best itineraries and activities to fit your family's needs, and handle all the reservations on your behalf. There is no cost to you or your family when using Touring Plans Travel services, and you may even save some money if discounts become available after booking. So head over to touringplans.com/travel and tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things Disney. And Doug, this might be the first time in show history that all the news came out before we push record. So we have been... Right. Like, usually we record an episode and then Disney's like, blah! And here we are now making sure we got everything, that they released today. And I know this episode comes out in a couple days. But yeah, Disney dropping a ton of news. We're going to talk some of it in the Patreon, but what are some of the key points you want to discuss just off the top?
Just real quick, big points. Harmonious is gone, being replaced by Epcot. You're the one. Yep. Epcot Forever temporarily will be coming back on April 3rd. Also, Happily Ever After back April 3rd. And guess what finally opens April 4th?
Tron! About time.
Light Cycle Run will open April 4th. Also, things about resort parking and park hopping at Disneyland and kind of a no reservation needed for annual pass holders if they're park hopping after 2. There's the news. We're going to talk more in depth about it in Patreon, maybe a little next week. But we got a big show to get to today, Derek.
We do. This is our Genie Plus in 2023 episode, one that you guys always ask us questions about Genie Plus. So we're going to dive into all of it today. But first, we got to give a shout out. It's been a big week on our Patreon page for Patreons. Michael Niesel, Brian Hahn, Vanessa Newhouse, and then our boy CT Switch upgraded. And thank you for doing that because he saw that someone left us a bad review on Apple iTunes. And
he wanted us to feel better.
He may want us to feel better. And then thank you, our other Patreon, Kent, who went through and found all of her reviews, every one of them negative, and we all had a good joke that no one wants to travel with her anyway. So, we got a bad review. So if you want to help us, leave a good review, a 5-star review, and that'll help offset that, like the one Doug's about to read.
Glad I found this show by Janet28RN. I love living vicariously through this podcast as they get to Disney a lot more than I do. Enjoy their input, honesty, and tips on all things Disney. Keep the episodes coming, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Janet. Thank you for that 5-star review, helping us offset that terrible review. Feel free to look at it and then click that 5-star for us so Doug can read your review on the air. So thank you so much. And today is a big episode because everyone asks us, and when I say almost daily, we do get this daily. I'm sure Michelle gets it like 10 times a day. But it's all about Genie Plus because, Doug, there's no more Fast Passes. There's no more paper Fast Passes anymore. And people still want to get ahead of the lines.
For Disney's website to explain all this stuff, they've made 6 separate videos.
They have.
That's not ideal.
No.
This is complicated.
It is a little complicated. I'm sure we'll have some screenshots and some things helping you out, maybe on social media this week. But yeah,
we're going to... promises, Derek.
I hope so. So we're going to be talking about Genie Plus, lightning lanes, individual lightning lanes. A lot we're going to untangle from all of this. But let's start with what is everything, Doug. Let's break down the words because people even get confused on what is what anymore.
So Genie is the first thing. That is the free thing that Disney offers. It's an itinerary planning service. Essentially, it's where they house the tip board, which is full of your wait times.
Is it like a touring plan?
Can be, except a bad one. So if you, little plug here for the sponsor, if you book through a Touring Plans travel agent or destination specialist, my bad, you get a free subscription to Touring Plans. Touring Plans does virtual touring plans where you tell all the attractions you want to do, and it spits out the order that you need to do them in, and it works fantastic. Genie, on the other hand,
Will
Does
send
not.
you to Swiss Family Robinson.
It will. And they'll be like, why don't you take a walk? Like, for an hour. It's just so weird. So Genie is free. It's where the tip board is housed. The tip board is key because that is where you find your wait times, where you can make your Lightning Lane reservations, which we'll talk more about later, and you make your individual Lightning Lanes. So it's all kind of under the Genie umbrella, but the free thing doesn't really do much for you other than tell you wait times.
All in the App Store. Get on the Walt Disney World. Yep.
What's the next thing we have to define, Derek?
Genie Plus.
Genie Plus. All right. Genie Plus is something you purchase at midnight the day that you're going to use it. You can't buy it in advance. Don't wait until 7 a.m. when you can start making Lightning Lanes to purchase Genie Plus. Get up even earlier to do it, or stay up till midnight, purchase Genie Plus. Genie Plus pricing
because people want to sleep on their vacation?
Nope.
Oh,
not
okay,
at
got
Disney.
it.
No, the Walt Disney Company does not acknowledge sleeping patterns. All right, so it can vary between, like, say, $16 and $25, depending on what time of day you're there. But Genie Plus allows you to make Lightning Lanes, which is the ability to skip the line and get on a ride faster. So you buy Genie Plus, but then you make Lightning Lanes with it.
All right. So so that kind of answers the
Clear as
Lightning
mud.
Lanes
And-
as well.
Yeah, clear as mud.
Yep. Now, what about individual Lightning Lanes?
Yeah, so a Lightning Lane is essentially just the old fast pass, the get on the ride. Individual Lightning Lane is there's one attraction in each park that you don't get with Genie Plus.
What? How dare they, Disney?
They held
They
one
want
back.
more money.
Like,
That
not so
signature
fast.
e-ticket. Yep.
So each park has one that you get to pay more for, and we'll get into which one those are, but you can buy that separate. You don't have to have Genie Plus to get the individual Lightning Lanes, totally independent of each other.
Let's talk about when I'm going to Walt Disney World. How and what do I do first?
All right, first things first. As soon as you make your reservation, say you're staying on property, link it to your account.
Yep.
Don't wait. Make sure your park tickets are properly linked, and for everyone. Ideally, say you're a family traveling, you would have one person have an account. Everybody else is just
On My
under
Disney
them.
Experience.
Don't have your children try to make an account. If your spouse is one person, don't even use it. Like when we travel, my account's just dead weight. So you want one account, link everything to it, make sure the tickets are linked, and make sure you update your app prior to going. That's important.
That is.
You also have to make a park pass reservation. So you update your app, you link your reservation, make sure your tickets are linked if they're not with a hotel package that you've already linked, and then make your park pack reservation for which park you want to go to each day.
Things I hope they get rid of in 2023.
Once you've done those 4 steps, congratulations, you're clear to purchase Genie Plus starting at
This is why they have
midnight.
so many videos and so many YouTubes and so many things explaining
Right?
all this. Once you do it a couple times, it is a lot easier, I will admit.
Yes. So you do that at midnight, and you purchased it, and then it's ready to go at 7 a.m.
So, are you getting up at 7 a.m.? No, you're getting up early. In fact, I have
What?
alarms set at, I once posted on Twitter, I have alarms at like 6:58, 6:59, and 7 because I want to make sure I'm on my phone as soon as 7 a.m. hits on the dot and I am on the tips board, Doug. So how can you help with strategizing the tip board?
So you can favorite something, like it will bump it to the top
Yep.
of your list. So you pick like Jungle Cruise, and then that way it's the first thing you see when
I
you're
usually pick my
refreshing
top 3
at
or 4
7 a.m.
that I'm going to do that day.
Yeah, and have those up at the top, easier to find, and it just makes life simpler. Familiarize yourself with the tip board prior to ever going.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how fast Lightning Lanes move, and we'll talk about that more too. But the tip board, you're going to spend a lot of time looking at it.
Yep, and it's going to drain your phone. So tip board definitely really important to navigate because for me, I messed up thinking 7 Dwarfs was the number 7. No, it's SCVE. I did that the first time. You learn. So you just got to scroll through and find it. So 7 a.m., you're able to make your first lightning lane, Doug, through the tip board. You want to explain any more with that?
When the clock is ticking, I actually make sure my watch face is counting down the seconds. So when it hits 7 a.m., I'm hitting, go, book, subscribe, or refreshing that.
Yep.
And we talked last week in our rope drop show. So 7 a.m., you're looking for Jungle Cruise or Slinky Dog. Safari, and
Epcot.
Test Track.
There
Test
you go.
Track or Frozen Ever After or Ratatouille. You kind of have options there. So 7 a.m., you're doing those right away.
Yep.
And then you wait.
So the park opens at 9 a.m. You head into the park, and this could change. How long do you have until you can make your next lightning lane? Because when you buy Genie Plus, you can make more than one lightning lane. The amount of people I've seen mess that up is crazy. But yes, It doesn't mean you just get to get one. You can get multiple.
Right. So you make that first one at 7. And then the rule is you can make your next one after you use your first lightning lane or 2 hours after the park opens. Yep. So say the park, you make it at 7, park opens at 9, but you don't have Slinky Dog till noon. So then at 11, you set your alarm for 11, you can book your next lightning lane.
Yep.
So you don't want to miss that. You set alarms for every 2 hours. It will also tell you if you go and try to make a lightning lane too soon, it will tell you what time you can actually make your next one, so that you can be on top of that. Now, you tap into an attraction, go ahead, get on and start making your next lightning lane. So if it's before that 2 hour window, that's even better. So the Magic Kingdom's the park where you can really click through some lightning lanes because you don't have to wait the full 2 hours.
Yep, it's a good one. All right, what if you book something and your kids want to take a nap or you got to eat? What is it like to cancel or rebook?
Well, this is a new feature because with lightning lanes, you don't get to pick the time.
Yeah.
Right? You get what you get and you don't throw a fit, but now you can throw that fit and you can cancel and rebook it for a different time or just cancel and book something else entirely. So say you're like, oh, Slinky Dog's not till 1. We see that Millennium Falcon's available sooner. Let's go ahead, cancel Slinky Dog, grab Millennium Falcon. Do I recommend that? No. But that's a scenario that I could come up with on the fly, Derek.
Okay.
It's another scenario where you might want to cancel the nap, right? You're just not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you miss your lightning lane, it's done. It's gone. You can't show up like 30 minutes late and beg. They do not care.
Nope, they don't.
There's a little leeway,
they got
like
a little 5 minutes. Yep.
So on the front end of your lightning lane, they will let you tap in 5 minutes early, and it's a few minutes after. I don't want to say an exact time because it
changes per person. Yes.
I've had mixed results.
Yes.
So
if you give a little sob story, sometimes you get an extra minute or two on there.
Maybe, but not like 30. It's never like 30 or an hour. Also, the other issue with lightning lanes, you can only book it once. So you can only do Pirates of the Caribbean one time. Doesn't matter if that's your favorite ride and you just want to go on it all day. Yep. You can only do
also,
one
something that
lane.
frustrates me is that it
Because
drives me insane.
Fast Pass, you could do that.
Yep.
You could do Small World for Eternity, which I don't recommend, but you could. Mm-hmm. Just knowing that I could makes me feel better about myself, Derek.
That does. Well, what happens if you book and that ride just goes down when your window is there?
Well, after you're done saying words you're not supposed to say at Disney World, you look at the app and it will show you a multiple experience is available.
Yep.
So after you book one of these, it shows up on the tip board, or there next to the tip board, there's like a My Plans or My Day.
Yep.
Right. And it's on there. Now, if you have favorited things, it will just throw them in there and look like you have a lightning lane, but you don't. Make sure it actually says you have a lightning lane for this time. It can get confusing. If you go through and like, oh, everything you want to do, you just click on, then your My Day gets really weird and diluted because it's the genie trying to give you an order.
I did that the very first trip, by the way.
Right?
Very
and you
confusing.
think like, oh, I have this lightning lane to get to. And you're like, no, that was just the genie suggesting it. So don't like everything. Just like a couple things that you're going to make lightning lanes for. So you look at the My Day. Where was I going? Oh, what you get the multiple experience. It's gonna show like balloons, and it will tell you which attractions you can go on with that because it's not gonna be all of them.
Nope.
So say your Pirates of the Caribbean goes down, you're gonna kind of get equivalent varieties to go on. It's not gonna say like, hey, head over to Space Mountain now.
Yep.
Right? It's gonna give you most of the attractions you can go and ride if a ride goes down, or you can wait if that ride comes back up. Then your multiple attraction thing will work on that attraction.
Now,
So-
what if one of your individual lightning lanes go down, Doug?
Oh, lots of scenarios here. Sometimes we've had lots of different results. One time we had to turn it into one for the next day because it went down at the end of the day.
Yep.
So they will refund you money if you can't get on it. Like say the ride goes down, doesn't open back up, you get your money back. So watch for that. Also, sometimes you just get a multiple experience. Sometimes you get nothing. I don't fully understand. It seemed to be different every time I've had it happen. Fortunately, it doesn't happen that often other than at Hollywood Studios late in the day with Rise of the
Rise
Resistance.
going down. Yep.
Mostly you just wait for Rise to be back up, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real thing is Rise goes down a lot. And so you're just sitting there waiting.
Hanging out with a lot of other people.
That's usually what happens is you just use it later in the day.
Okay.
It stinks, it's sad, but it's true.
All right.
One other weird thing that you get with Genie Plus by purchasing it, and they've really pushed this big back in 2021 when it came out in October, you get the filters for your camera.
I still don't use them. You do.
I do it out of principle because I paid for them. And then they have the audio tails.
Snapchat filters. Yay.
Yeah, and the audio tails, Derek. Have you listened to any of those?
No, I haven't done that either.
So if you do a Genie day, like you want them to plan your day, and you have Genie Plus, they'll tell you to listen to an audio tale for like an hour and a half.
Oh.
They just walk you through the park and talk about the park.
Actually, that's not a bad thing. I kind of like that.
It's not that good though.
Okay.
No. I think you'd give better tours.
Yay. If you want to go on a tour with Doug and I, just let us know.
Let us
May
know.
30th, we'll be there and we'll walk you around.
Take
We got some
audio
people coming.
tail.
Yeah. And so there you go. So, all right. Now, how do I get those individual lightning lanes, Doug? Those 4 attractions, one at each park that you're going to spend a little bit of extra money, sometimes a lot of extra money on.
Well, let's talk about what attractions. Magic Kingdom, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train can range from 10.
Is that going to change with Tron? We don't know.
I would put money on it.
Yep.
I bet it will, but can't predict the future. April's a long ways away from when we recorded this. All right, so if you're listening in the future and it's Tron, congratulations, you're in the future. All right, so Magic Kingdom currently Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It ranges from $10 to $17 a person.
Yep.
Epcot, Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, ranging from $9 to $25 a person.
That's a long range, by the way.
Right? It's weird. Hollywood Studios is Rise of the Resistance, ranging from $15 to $25 per person. And Animal Kingdom is Flight of Passage, ranging from $11 to $18 a person. So there you have it. We have said over and over that it's kind of worth the money. It's just part of doing business on a trip to Disney at this point.
Yep, especially things like
Sad,
Rise. Yeah.
but true.
You don't want to wait in some of those lines with kids. I get it. I hate it.
Yeah. So how do we get them? 7 a.m. again.
Yep.
That's when you can book them. Rise of the Resistance.
But wait a minute. How am I doing 2 things at once at 7 a.m., Doug?
This is where you train a child or a spouse.
Or a spouse, yeah.
So what we do is we log in all on the same account. We will all be logged in under my wife's account, and one person will be going for, let's say we're at Hollywood Studios for Slinky Dog, and 2 people will be trying to purchase Rise of the Resistance. And you may be asking, why would you have 2 people try to purchase it? What if you buy it twice? Good news, it won't let you buy it twice.
Yep.
It gives it to whoever gets to it first. Okay? So we're all on there trying to do it. When I say 3, it's my wife, me, and my 15-year-old son. We're all doing it on our own devices. And we check the speed of the Wi-Fi in the room or the cell service. We find out what's faster the day before so we know what to be on, because getting Rise of the Resistance right at 7 is critical. The other one's not quite as critical, but if you want an early time, it is critical to do it right at 7. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Do you get to pick the times?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of. You pick it, and then they like to change it.
Yeah, because if so many people are picking that same time, then they bump you up.
So say you're going through it, and you pick like 1 p.m., and then when you get done, they're like 8:50.
That has happened at Slinky Dog many times for me.
But Slinky Dog, you're not picking the time.
Rise.
But it shows you, Rise. You can go to guest services and be like, hey, it did this. So when you do purchase it, I suggest you screenshot things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. This is where being on and off property comes into play, doesn't it, Derek?
Yeah, it does. So there you go. Benefits of staying on property so you can do this.
Because on property, you can do the individual lightning lanes at 7 a.m. Off property, you can't purchase an individual lightning lane until the park opens.
And by then, who knows what's left for pickings?
Well, we know Rise is gone.
Yeah.
Just straight up, Rise is gone if you're staying off property. Flight of Passage. I don't know what time you'd be later in the day for sure. Yep. No early morning for any of those.
Let's talk about some tips that we love to give on this show. The first one is one of my favorite ones, stacking.
Stacking is great.
My favorite.
So, you have an hour window for your lightning lane. You get an hour to come and ride it. All right. With the old Fast Pass Plus system, you couldn't overlap your hours. With this one, you can make 10 things at the same time. It will let you. So they can all be stacked over and top of each other. So you can go from one to another to another to another. But it takes some planning, doesn't it, Derek?
It does, and I love it for park hopping. So if I know I'm only going to be in Animal Kingdom in the morning or Hollywood Studios in the morning, I'll start getting all my lightning lanes just book in the afternoon, and it knows that you're hopping. So
it does not do that anymore.
Oh, no, I'm wrong.
You have to wait and watch for it to be pushed out.
Okay, before it did that.
It used to just jump to 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So now, this
does that mean they're getting rid of park hopping?
Nah, I wish, but
they got to.
They did that a while ago, so a while ago.
They're going to get rid of the times, so you can go in.
They're not going to. They don't like park hoppers. They don't like us, Derek.
All right.
Anyway, so you
Anyway, that's why I
watch
like stacking.
The tip board.
Put it in the afternoon.
Yeah, so you watch the tip board. So, say you're going to go to the Magic Kingdom later in the day. The first one you would watch, the one that's going to arrive there first, is going to be Jungle Cruise. And then you might watch Space Mountain or Peter Pan. So you need to kind of have a feel for which attractions are going to push out sooner so that you can book them and then wait your 2 hours, book the next one, wait the 2 hours, book the next one. We've actually done it for a park that we're in the morning. We did it for Magic Kingdom one time in the morning. We went to have lunch, have a little nap, and then we came back and went on 6 attractions, all with lightning lanes, within a 2.5 hour span. Was it exhausting? Yes. Because were any of them next to each other? No.
Take some planning.
Yeah.
But
stacking's
great. Yep. Especially if you get them all in the evening, you feel like you really successfully got your money's worth out of it. So we did talk about setting alarms quite a bit, but we can never stress enough. Make sure you set that phone alarm so you don't miss it. Watch alarm. So even if you're in a queue, jump on tips board and get something when you can. So another one we get all the time is how do you rope drop and combine it with lightning lanes, Doug?
So it's key to know what you're booking on your lightning lane before you get to the park, right?
Yep.
So if you are going to Animal Kingdom and you purchase Flight of Passage and you have a Genie Plus, like you paid for Genie Plus, you can snag a Safari. Guess what? That frees you up to rope drop Everest and then hit Dino Land. And then you walk on over to the other ones that you've already booked. So you can really make some efficient work because nobody's going to be in Dino Land after you get off Everest. Heck, you could probably ride Everest twice.
In Dino Land.
Well, maybe me riding Triceratops Squirrel. Someone. I'm there. But if you do that, yes, you spent the money for those things, but you can master Animal Kingdom, the attractions, really fast. And that similar, like you need to know what you're going to purchase, what you're planning on getting, and making sure it makes sense with what you're rope dropping.
Yep.
And try to have something as early as you can, because rope dropping gets you ahead of the crowd, right? You can get 1 to 2 attractions in. The masses show up at a theme park at 11. So anything you do before 11, just remember you're winning, and you can take that nap when it's really busy. So just combining Genie Plus with Lightning Lanes is a great idea. What have you done before with rope dropping, Derek?
Oh, it's just trying to get on as many as I can, and then making sure I wouldn't say the E-tickets, the D tickets that I can get in the afternoon with Lightning Lanes.
Yeah, it's just a good combo.
Yep.
Like I've heard people say, I don't need Genie Plus because I'm going to rope drop.
Oh yeah, that's
rope drop only gets you so far.
Yeah, 2 or 3 attractions tops.
You're going to have a miserable afternoon in the heat of the day without Genie Plus, and it saves you a ton of time. We haven't really discussed that. The Rise of the Resistance, like as long as everything's working, you essentially walk right to where they sort you and put you in the briefing rooms, like right to the start of the attraction.
That could save 2-3 hours.
Right, 5 to 10 minutes top. It's like that on most attractions.
Yep.
Sometimes you see a line outside of the attraction,
and that's usually because someone doesn't know how to use a lightning lane, or
right?
It drives
because they don't have it. Like they think they purchased it because they're probably looking at the My Day,
or they're trying
thing.
to find all the cards and tickets and get all the family members together.
Yeah, they're like digging through their wallet for someone's card.
I told you the test track where we held up a line. I was kind of concerned because the lightning lane line was way outside the building. And I'm like, what's going on? Finally, it was because that's what happened. They were a family clogged up the line for a while trying to find cards. And
it happens. So if you see a line outside, don't freak out.
Yep.
No matter what, if there's a line for lightning lanes, they're going to like pump people through.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they're not afraid to go 50-1 lightning lane standby.
Seen that at Jungle Cruise. Yep.
Right? And so that line outside, don't fret. There are some that are faster or slower than others. But, like, Soarin', I wish there was a way to bypass. Like, I wish it was a little further.
One of the worst merge points in all of Disney.
Soarin'. It's just so early. And there's a few
I always
others.
think Soarin', one of those 3 theaters should just be lightning lanes. That's just what I've always thought.
Or 2 of the 3 theaters, Derek.
Okay. Well, I also think one of the theaters should be always the California event or one.
Right.
So these are my thoughts. Thoughts
there
of
would
Derek.
be another individual lightning lane they could sell.
Oh my gosh, I would buy it. Go see the old California one.
Be making
the
money.
golf shot. Oh my gosh. Why don't they listen to
Hand over
us?
fist.
Hand
over fist money coming in.
All right. Let's talk about virtual queues. 7 a.m., 1 p.m., Doug.
So virtual queue is something we didn't talk about. Right now it is Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's keep in mind a virtual queue is not a lightning lane or an individual lightning lane. You can purchase the individual lightning lane for Guardians.
Another thing, Doug?
Yes, another thing. So you can still purchase the individual lightning lane for Guardians of the Galaxy and book a virtual queue. A virtual queue in the morning is right, and you can go on the ride twice. There is no standby for Guardians of the Galaxy right now because they have a virtual queue. My hunch, this could be totally wrong. People in the future laugh at if you want. When Tron opens, it will have a virtual queue and Guardians will have standby. That's my hunch.
I will 98% agree with that.
Because I think they don't want to have to support 2 virtual queues in the morning. I think it's a lot of people. And the virtual queues will go faster.
And also enough people have been on Guardians now that it should be a little bit more.
And so they drop virtual queues at 7 a.m., 1 p.m., and on nights where they have the evening extra magic for deluxe resorts, they do a 6 p.m. drop just for the after hours thing.
Yep.
So that will probably continue over at the Magic Kingdom. And when we talked about watching your watch and being right on the second, virtual queue as well. Dedicate 1 person, 1 device to that.
Yep.
Dedicate 1 person, 1 device to the individual lightning lane. Dedicate 1 person, 1 device for your Genie Plus. Say you only have 2 people. I think the Genie Plus lightning lane is the lowest on your priority. If you have 3 people, or one person.
One person has 2 thumbs, Doug. I've done it.
That's true. You got 2 phones. I would probably just focus on paying the money and buying the individual Lightning Lane because that's going to be more guaranteed than the.
You know how many times I've been in the room with 2 thumbs trying to do it because I have my daughter's phone and my phone, and I'm like, and my brain only works like it's amazing. I should record myself at 7 a.m. with the 2 phones. Yeah, you should. That's a Patreon video.
The great thing, though, you don't have to be in the park to do a virtual queue or make a Lightning Lane. We have made Lightning Lanes and gotten virtual queue spots from an airplane, from our house, and in the airport, from a bus, all before we've arrived at Disney World, showed up mid-afternoon, went from the airport to Epcot, right on to Guardians of the Galaxy the weekend it opened. We made all those things in the airport, right? Actually, we made them from the airplane. It was that moment where they're like, all right, it's time to get ready to turn off your electronics. And we're like, making Lightning Lanes. Don't back the plane up yet.
And I think another one to go with that is just screenshot stuff. There's been the blue tents are there. Cast members are there to help. We've had to do it. I know Doug's had to do it. But just, hey, no, I actually made this. It's here. And work out. Disney's system isn't perfect. Things are going to happen.
And when you go to talk to guest services or those blue umbrellas, blue tents, they're wearing blue shirts. They're around all 4 parks. Remember, honey catches more flies.
It does.
So just go with that approach and you'll get a lot further.
Have a cute kid with you. You might get it helps
maybe
a little bit.
Maybe a tear from the kid.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely, if you do have any issues, the cast members have answered every single question and ones we couldn't even imagine coming up with, even if we tried, because there are a lot of crazy questions out there. So if you need help with anything and you're at the parks, please make sure you ask. And if you have screenshots and show them, that can help a lot as well. So, Doug, any other big tips, tricks when it comes to Lightning Lanes and Genie Plus? We both agree, because you're starting to see right now, people are like, I'm not going to spend the money. Doug and I are both in agreement that it's kind of got to. If you want to ensure doing everything. Now, if you want to save money, you can go without and you're going to wait in line. Doug, I can be honest. I've timed it. I've saved 3-4 hours not waiting in lines with it.
If it's around the $16 mark that day, the break even for your park ticket is saving an hour.
Yeah.
So just by doing Slinky Dog or Toy Story Mania, you've paid essentially, if you're looking at it as paying for the hour, you've made your money back. Anything beyond that is gravy. So the Jungle Cruise, essentially on its own at the Magic Kingdom, covers the cost of your time, because time is money. It's also why we say eat early or eat late, eat off hours, so that you're saving your time. That's why we rope drop, because your time, get all your time in the park. That's what this is all about, right? It's your time.
Yep. I mean, and you can get 4, 5, 6, 7. I wonder what the record is.
I don't know, but I'm sure it's a lot. And, each park is different, so don't have the same expectations
Hollywood
as to
Studios
how
sucks.
many you're going to.
We all know that.
There's just not as many attractions. Sometimes a reservation for a show is a horrible idea, like PhilharMagic, but other times, like Lion King, the Festival of Lion King and Animal Kingdom, great idea. It's a good, say you do the rope drop where you purchase Flight of Passage and you get a Safari Lightning Lane. You rope drop the other half of the park. Like, you're there at Park Open. There is nothing wrong with getting Lion King Lightning Lane.
It's a great show,
and there's people that stand in line for that show that do not get into the theater on a regular basis. So that doesn't happen very often. Other shows, if you're a little early, I can't think of another show. If you're avoiding peak holiday, like you're not there at Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you're pretty good shape. Even Indiana Jones, I've seen people get turned away, but that was like Thanksgiving. So
that covers a lot of the tips and tricks
for
Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. A lot of strategies, and like we said, it's probably going to change sometime this year, especially after Tron opens. We might have to do a follow-up episode for sure.
We'll probably do one in June or July, a little update. But I think the biggest
thing...
thing...
Old Bob's back, so who knows what he's getting rid of. Yeah, new
Old
Bob's
the new Bob. Old Bob's the new
Wouldn't that be
Bob.
amazing if, like, next week he goes, Fast Passes are back, and then this show's just implodes.
Could happen.
You never know.
Happen.
We recorded
it's very
it.
possible.
It happened. So
Dining plan coming back.
that's never coming back. We'll talk more about that on on Patreon as well. So if you want to hear more of the news and the Patreon stuff, you're going to have to go into the show notes, click that link, support the show. Thank you all of our patrons from the bottom of our heart for helping us keeping the show going. And also please leave a review, follow at Rope Drop Radio. And of course, if you want to try any of these things out, have a magical day, you need to go to touringplans.com/travel, get a quote for a trip, click that Rope Drop Radio sent you. And yeah, Doug and I will be down there trying some of these out, trying Tron, things like that on May 30th. So if you want to meet us, we will be there. So if you want to meet up with us on May 30th, who knows, maybe the 29th. I'm trying to fly in a day, sneak in a day early.
Maybe.
But yeah, we'll be down there and then doing the Galactic Star Cruiser. So we have some fun things coming up. But that is all the time that we have for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening to Rope Drop Radio.